Edith, that will have to wait and see, but that meeting between KUPPET and the government kicked off about 2 hours ago. KUPPET has basically the same demands as NAT, though their emphasis is on allowances as opposed to NAT, whose emphasis is on the salary. Last evening, the government announced its offer that it had given to the teachers, and Labour Cabinet Secretary Kazungu Kambi saying that the allowances that the government is offering teachers, that is house hardship as well as leave allowances, would bring to a total amount of 9.3 billion shillings. Already the government says the teachers' wage bill currently stands at 161 billion shillings. And so the current offer that the government has made of 9.3 billion shillings would push up that teachers' wage bill to about 170 billion shillings. That meeting yesterday, as you mentioned there, it did not come to any conclusion, any fruitful conclusion, and NAT walked out of that meeting. We are not sure yet whether another meeting will be convened between NAT and the government. But today we'll wait to hear what comes out of the meeting between KUPPET and the government. KUPPET, however, if they come up with a deal between the union and the government, perhaps they may call off the strike for their members in the post-primary school. But given that KUPPET has about only 50,000 members, perhaps calling off the strike, the effect will not be really felt as opposed to if NAT called off the strike, the giant union, and NAT has about 200,000 members who all are on strike right now. Learning in public schools has been paralyzed. So we'll wait to hear whether later on this afternoon KUPPET will come to any agreement with the government, bearing in mind that their focus is on allowances as opposed to salaries as compared to NAT. Perhaps they might soften their stand and go with the government, the allowances that the government is offering. Yesterday, Labour Cabinet Secretary Kazungu Kambi warning teachers who do not report back to work this morning that they will face the consequences. Kazungu Kambi maintaining that the strike is illegal as had been ordered by the court. So this afternoon we'll just wait and see what happens.
All right. Now, Rita Tinina, I do know that Labour Cabinet Secretary Kazungu Kambi is really playing a mediator's role. So have we seen any officials from the Ministry of Education? I know yesterday Professor Kaimenyu was there.
Today, we've not had a chance to go into the meeting room. Yesterday, at least, we were allowed before the negotiations kicked off. So as of now, aside from the Labour Cabinet Secretary and officials from KUPPET, we are not sure yet, as of now, who else is in that meeting. But the government really has been saying that it has worked towards improving the teachers' situation over the last couple of years. In 2009, the government says it offered to harmonize basic salaries. This was an arrangement that was phased out and achieved in July of 2012. In 2013, teachers again presented a list of 39 demands. The government says it has tried to meet at least 38 of them. And last year, in 2014, in September, negotiations again resumed on pending issues. That is when NAT first issued its strike notice, which later it suspended, saying it wanted to pave way for negotiations as well as smooth running of the national examinations. And right now, the strike which kicked off on Monday, NAT says it will not call off the strike until its main concern, that is salaries, is addressed. Edith.
Rita, finally, have you been able to identify if there's any indication whatsoever that either NAT or KUPPET are willing to call off this strike as the negotiations continue?
NAT has been clear all through, saying, give us what we want, we'll call off the strike the next minute. KUPPET, we are not sure, as I mentioned, whether they will soften their stand, given that the government already yesterday tackled their concerns, which is salaries, as opposed to NAT, which is focused on the allowances. And yesterday, the government, Kazungu Kambi, the cabinet secretary, saying that the unions should sign the collective bargaining agreement, and according to him, that agreement will resolve the matters and the dispute, and it will be a bargaining agreement that will cover the period from the 1st of July 2013 to the 30th of July 2017. So if anyone will call off the strike, perhaps KUPPET will do so after their concerns are met, but NAT has said categorically, unless their salary concern is addressed. Yesterday, NAT initially had asked for a 300% pay increase. It came down later to 150%, and yesterday they were saying that as a starting point, the government should at least have offered the 50 to 60% offer that it made sometime last year, but later withdrew. Yesterday, NAT Chairman Muzonzili saying if the government had at least offered that 50 to 60% pay increase, then perhaps they would have had a starting point from where to take matters from. But since the government did not offer any increment in terms of salaries, NAT says even if you give us the allowances, we still want the salary as the main issue. The allowances can come later. Edith.
Well, thank you very much, Rita Tinina, senior reporter at NSSF, following that meeting between Labour Cabinet Secretary Kazungu Kambi and members of the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, or KUPPET.